Hello, everyone. It's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So let's have a debate. Let's have a debate. I saw this. I was going to turn in for the night, but I saw this and I wanted to do this because I thought this was funny as all hell. I am up. I'm seeing myself moving and shaking. So, again, perusing Twitter. First, thank all my patrons. Thanks to everyone who gave Super Cash. You guys are immensely appreciated. I try to start the videos off saying that. Welcome new subscribers. That's the other one. But yeah, getting the story. I debate time. Debate. This is a good one. I'm gonna get called a brute by somebody who's somewhat touchy. But here's a question, and I'm not making this question. This is somebody else's question. I'm just kind of bringing it in for the debate, for the conversation. Let's see. Actually, I probably should wait till more people get here. How many people are here? Oh, there are 3 people. There are not enough people. If I build it, they will come. If we build it, they will come. Let's see. All right. So, this is the question. People can fill it out at the end after this is over if they want. Hashtag #MeTooFrenzy deprives men of indispensable freedom to hit on women. Catherine Deneuve, I don't know how to pronounce that. Deneuve. The word indispensable freedom is so epic. It's so epic. Indispensable freedom. I have indispensable freedom to hit on women. How dare you deprive me of my indispensable freedom? I was unaware that was freedom that I possess. I will start using that freedom a little bit more now. Indispensable freedom to hit on women. I love that. Who made that term? That term is fucking awesome. Look, I've said it before, man. I get high off language. I love language. It's how words are put together sometimes are so fucking epic. I think indispensable freedom is one of those turn of words or turn of a phrase. My wife usually at this point is like, yeah, dude, I don't see it. I don't see why you're excited about this. I don't know why I'm excited about this either. I like the way words are arranged. Let's take a look at this. This is going on apparently in France. It's on RT, but I guess first question I'm asking, is it true? A, do men have an indispensable freedom to hit on women? That's the first point. B, or 2, does it deprive men of indispensable freedom? Meaning, does indispensable freedom to hit on women exist? That's the first part. And does the Me Too movement deprive men of that indispensable freedom to hit on women because they could, be shamed, lose their job, and all this other stuff? And 3, is... Yeah, those first two lead to a particular point. And I have a perspective on this, but I'm opening the question on it. I'm going to read the article first. But those are the 2 main questions. Do men have an indispensable freedom? I love that word. I love that term. Do men have an indispensable freedom to hit on women? A. And are men being deprived of that particular indispensable freedom to hit on women by the Me Too movement? And there's a third question in this that I want to add. Is, to some degree, this is true, and to some degree, this is false. Meaning the answer is in an either or. And to some degree, yes and no. This is more of a yes and no. Let's take a look. Let's read the article first. We'll come back to it. 100 prominent French women, including actress Catherine Deneuve, have denounced the Me Too campaign, saying it patronizes women and summarily punishes men for minor misdeeds, which only plays into the hand of Puritans. In an open letter published in the newspaper of Le Monde, the women acknowledged that while the campaign helped expose many cases of sexual violence that women are subjected to, particularly in professional lives, it has now gone too far. Men have been punished summarily, forced out of their jobs when all they did was touch someone's knee or try to steal a kiss, reads the letter. Instead of helping women, this frenzy To send these pigs, quote unquote, to the abattoir actually helps the enemies of sexual liberty, religious extremists, and the worst sorts of reactionaries. It is the characteristics of Puritanism to borrow, in the name of the so-called general good, the argument of the protection of women and their emancipation, to bind them to the statues of eternal victims, poor little things under the influence of the demon patriarchy, as in the good old days of witchcraft. The woman who signed the letter also criticized the Me Too campaign for throwing around accusations about men who are immediately branded sex offenders without being given the opportunity to respond or defend themselves. The signatories compares the situation to totalitarian society in which men are being forced to make public confessions and having to rack their brains and apologize for inappropriate behavior that might have happened 10, 20, or 30 years before. The letter goes on to say that grown-up and independent women should be able to tell the difference between menacing behavior and the awkward pickup, and to assume otherwise denies basic sexual freedom. I actually agree with the letter to a certain point. Like, and this is kind of why I said it's both. It's kind of yes and no. Harvey Weinstein kept a woman in the room when she turned down his advance, and he masturbated in a fucking plant. It's like, oh, it's like gross. So gross. I don't know what you get out of it to do that. Like, it is hard enough to keep a hard on. You know, well, that actually not in the moment, but it's hard enough to keep a hard on in general. But this idea that there's somebody standing across from you that loathes you, that has just turned you down and is now aghast by what has taken place. And not only were you able to keep that erection going, but you were able to complete while this other person is looking at you in utter disdain and confusion. That is a talent in and of itself. It is not necessarily a good talent that needs to be replicated. So, Bill O'Reilly calling a woman and masturbating on the phone line. This is gross. This is overt sexual harassment. And in this case, this idea of a woman being in the closet about this stuff, that's problematic. And it's good that it was exposed. Like, it's one of those things that, yeah, Harvey Weinstein was a fucking sexual predator, and every person who let him get away with it allowed the next person to be taken in this case. Meaning when Oprah Winfrey is sitting there with her arm around the other person talking to Harvey Weinstein. Now, granted, whether or not Oprah Winfrey knew about this, I know people say that these guys knew, there were rumors and everything else, they just never said anything about it. That's probably true. I can't say that's true, I'm saying it's probably true. Usually, there's somebody out there who knows the secret. It's not like everybody is just completely in the dark about the stuff. But in that case, it was good that it came out. People shouldn't have to suffer in those situations. You, yourself, maybe as a single mom, maybe as a mom in a household or something like that, you guys need to check. You guys are barely making ends meet. You're busting your ass. Both parents are working. Both of you need to check. You're going somewhere just to do a job, and the pervy manager is hitting on you. Maybe he's saying something to you. Maybe he's acting ways that are somewhat grossly inappropriate. And you yourself, needing to have that particular job, can't really do anything about it because you're scared that if you say something, that you won't necessarily have the support, and you may actually lose a job that you so vitally needs. It is not an easy situation for somebody to be under the thumb in some totalitarian company and have the people in that particular company or someone in that company making your life miserable when you're just there to do a job. It's like, look, man, I'm just here to work on my plantation like the other wage slaves. Do you really have to fuck with me in this case? So I understand, and it makes perfect sense that people come out saying, I don't want to be harassed. Me too. I don't want to be harassed. What's his name? Al Franken shoving his tongue in somebody else's mouth. That goes beyond just a kiss. I mean, ultimately, that's fucking sexual harassment. I mean, you're essentially assaulting somebody. Bill Clinton, etc., 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 with Bill Clinton. And maybe even Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has charges himself. I'm just saying, there's certain cases that come across as being somewhat overt and clear cases of this person touched me, this person perved on me, this person leaned on me and kind of gave across this thing that if I did favors, I would get something in return, or at the very least, I felt like I may lose my job because of it. I get it. In that case, the campaign was magnificently good. It's magnificently good. Brushing up against somebody's knee, and then that person going somewhere and saying, that person touched me inappropriately. And it's like, wait a minute. I fucking touched you inappropriately. I brushed up against your knee. Let's say it wasn't brushed up against your knee. Let's say the person made a pass. Does make it a pass automatically mean that you've just sexually harassed somebody? And if you've just sexually harassed somebody, we've just made a pass, and sexual relations at that point break down. And you need to have a contract when anytime you're going to interact or talk to somebody, which gets to a certain degree of ridiculousness. They're right and they're wrong. So they're right, I think, in this thing of I don't think you can take lightly the impact that Me Too has had in regards to how women feel open and being okay with having these conversations about this, what took place, this person did X. It is immensely problematic, however, when you can make those claims, and just the claim itself can ruin somebody's life. That's not fair at all. That's not fair at all. So this campaign is right, and this campaign is wrong. It's right from the standpoint of, yeah, at a certain point, it goes too far. The pendulum swings in a different way. I think it's common sense to know that these things tend to float on a spectrum. Your interactions at some point on the edge of the spectrum are somewhat clear. No, I don't want this behavior. Yes, I want this behavior. Between that is certain levels of receptibility. At a certain point, a person making a pass is not the same thing as a person masturbating in a plant. And those things can't be seen as being the exact same thing. And there needs to be a clear demarcation point between people accusing somebody for something that's tepid and in no way the same thing as somebody shoving their tongue down your throat. These women are right and these women are wrong. I feel like they're taking lightly the benefit, or they're taking lightly the positive impact of it, if that makes sense. And maybe they're not taking it light. Maybe they're just making this point that at some point it goes too far. Like at some point you're getting people and making men terrified to interact in ways that are somewhat natural in the way that human beings interact. The point is to not go too far. That's the point. The point is to, yes, create a background where people can feel safe in saying, yes, me too, this happened to me. But at the same token, not necessarily go so far that normal human behavior of adults, meaning treating women like adults, normal human behavior among adults, understanding that women are human beings and they're adults, and those adults can make decisions on the things that they want or they don't want, and not necessarily needing to be completely protected as dandelions in this case, that a guy can make a pass and a woman can turn that pass down, and the woman understand that that pass is not menacing. He's not trying to shove his tongue down her. He's not grabbing her, purring on her. It's not pulling a Bill Clinton. It's normal interaction between adults. Well, one adult may turn another adult down. One adult may say something to an adult. The other adult, it may not be receptive, but they're fucking adults. The question and the point is to not go too far. Now, I guess the main question here is, do men have an indispensable right to hit on women? That word is weird to me. I don't know if I don't. My first thought is indispensable right sounds a little weird to me. I think it is natural, as natural could be, for men to hit on women. I think it's natural as natural could be for women to hit on men. I think it's natural as natural can be for men to hit on other men or women to hit on other women. The latter being pretty high. So it's like this idea of this indispensable right. I want to say yes, but it's not just the indispensable right of men. It's the indispensable right of both. Their point in this is that this undermines that thing from the standpoint of men. If a man can't necessarily hit on a woman, and that woman taking that particular hit as something monstrous, when really it's not really monstrous. Like where the Me Too campaign has emboldened certain people who are really finicky about this stuff and who are really overly sensitive about it. Meaning any minor thing becomes of epic proportions. In which case, the Me Too thing has gone too far. The Me Too thing has emboldened certain people who are overly sensitive about certain things. And I know this question of overly sensitive and everything else gets sketchy. I'm just making a point. They're right and they're wrong. In some cases, they can go too far. In some cases, it's done magnificently good things. I don't think the answer to this is one or the other. I think the answer is somewhat is both. If I've had conversations with guys where they was like, yeah, man, I'm somewhat freaked out by the Me Too thing. And not because they did anything, but more so because it's like, I don't know what, like, it could be something random that she takes a particular way. Like, the issue with the campaign, I think, that they're making is, it all depends on the woman. Whatever she says is taken as just being a natural thing because people are trying to be supportive, without giving the man any counter or any ability to say, wait a minute, that woman is full of shit. That never took place. He's automatically taken as being guilty. Which is, they're true. They're right. They're right. That's kind of my point. I think they're right and they're wrong. Now, there were arguments against this. Of course, some of the women hated what's being said. And by the way, they make one other point. This whole religious thing. You're emboldening the religious right. Because you make it as if women can't necessarily make decisions on their own. That ultimately, that a woman is such a dandelion that you can't hit on her. And if you hit on her, she just falls apart. And all of a sudden she screams, me too, because a man has hit on her. And she can't necessarily, as a woman, deal with the fact that a man has hit on her. Yes, I kind of agree. I mean, I gotta be honest, man. People might hate this. The Jordan Sheridan thing. The Jordan Sheridan thing. You have somebody who's they're about to have an orgy. One person flips out, doesn't necessarily want to get it. But at no point did anybody force, pressure, none of that stuff. None of that stuff took place. But the argument came down of, he's a rapist. And if you're saying that because she's an adult, she's a grown person that has determination, that as a woman, she has just as much equal rights as he does. She has just as much agency as he does. At any point, he can say, no, she wasn't forced. Now, I look at that and I say, well, I'm a feminist. I believe that woman is over ability. She's not in any way mentally deficient. She's a human being just like other people are human beings. She's choice. She's a being of choice. And they said, no, she's not a being of choice. She was incapable of making that decision. And you're like, what? What? It's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. Me Too has done good things. That's why I started this, kind of making this point of bolstering the Me Too thing. I think it was necessary. I think it's good. I couldn't imagine you're being in a job space and somebody is perving on you that you don't necessarily want to be bothered with. And it's in a way where you feel like you can't move, you're stuck in that particular situation. That's fucking horrendous. So yeah, from that standpoint, Me Too is great. But like anything, or like every other movement, I can't say every other movement, but like most things, sometimes it does go too far, where you get to the edges of it. And people who, for the most part, were well-meaning, people who weren't necessarily doing anything wrong, get caught up in something that is not necessarily representative of who they are. Meaning, there's a difference between somebody hitting on somebody versus Harvey Weinstein. Lumping all of them together is not the same thing. It's not fair. This article is right, and this article is wrong. I agree with that. I agree with them overall. I agree with their point. The argument that was made against them is that they were minimizing the Me Too thing. I don't think they're minimizing the Me Too thing. I just think they're making the point that it just goes too far in some cases. Brian Tan, in most cases, you can't really know a woman without hitting on her or making some conversation. Brian Tan, right. And it's like the moment that you make a conversation, it's like, me too. Me too. Now, I'm not saying all of them do that. But some people are on spectrums, man. You have some people who are on one side of the spectrum who can deal with certain things, like who aren't bothered about the stuff at all, who can sit there with somebody who has body talk and they just love it and they're, oh, the world is great. You have somebody else who sits there and they flip out. I can't deal with this conversation. This guy is being so-and-so and he's being offensive and blah, 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 blah. It depends on the person. The problem is that person who sits there and flips out doesn't realize that they're just on a spectrum. They doesn't realize that they're not the bellwether, like they're not the default position in this. Ultimately, they're one of relative positions and one of relative perspectives. They don't get that. They're offended. They're offended by, this or that. And in which case, they're screaming me too. The article is making the point that, yeah, it goes too far when you get to that point. It goes too far when you get to that point. And I have to agree with the article. They're if somebody, and I love the argument that they make, because it's often the argument I make about, you're a grown woman. You're a grown woman. You're an independent woman. You're not a kept woman. We're not putting a burqa on you to hide you from the public because men can't control themselves. We're not keeping you in the household. None of that stuff. You're a grown woman. You have just as much right and just as much agency as I do as a man. I got to be honest. The more I think about this, I agree with the article. I agree with the article. I don't minimize the Me Too thing, and I don't think the article is minimizing the Me Too thing. I think they wrote this in a way, meaning the person who's RT, that just by virtue of saying, look, sometimes this goes too far, it makes it as if the other part gets negated. I'm saying it takes a little bit more context. It takes this understanding of both things are true. It's not an either or. Writing the article, reading the article as if it's an either or, as if it's the Me Too or it's not the Me Too, is a wrong way to read this article. The article, to some degree, is both. The article is, yes, the Me Too thing was helpful in regards to giving women a platform of saying, oh my God, I am being sexually abused, particularly in cases where people were actually being abusive or actually being solicitous of somebody who didn't necessarily want to be bothered. But the same token, the people who are not on that spectrum, meaning who are not at that edge, and you get into this kind of middle ground where it's, okay, I don't know about this one. This gets slippery to me. And then it becomes purely dependent upon the personalities involved in that particular case. And that gets slippery. That gets slippery. Space cyber. Jamal, have you stopped beating your wife yet? You know what's funny about this? My wife has, every so often she would get allergies, like really bad allergies. And her eye would swell. Like it would, like, it looks like it's swollen, but it's like the under part of her eye. It looks like it swells, where it gets to the point where it shuts. The doctor said that it had to do with some kind of allergic reaction. I thought the doctor was full of shit, if I'm being honest. He was saying some kind of inflammatory condition or something else. We thought it was an allergic reaction. She would just wake up in the mornings and her eyes huge. And I was like, they're going to think I beat you up. And she's like, no, they're not going to believe that you can kick my ass. I was like, well, okay. But it's massive. It's totally massive. Triana Befine. I'm asking the question, has Me Too gone too far? There's an article that was written that's saying the Me Too frenzy deprives men of the indispensable freedom to hit on women. I asked the question, is it an indispensable freedom for men to hit on women? That's the first point. And does the Me Too deprive men of that? Now, the indispensable freedom, I don't think that's just limited to men. I think it's indispensable freedom of anybody to hit on anybody. It is also the freedom of somebody to say, I don't want you hitting on me. It goes both ways. Like, the idea of your freedom to some degree is going to only extend to somebody else being okay with it. But I think as human beings, yes. In the abstract, yes. Human beings have this kind of indispensable freedom to hit on other human beings just because otherwise we're not going to propagate the species. Something needs to take place from point A to point B in order to get these two things involved, meaning somebody is going to have to hit on somebody. Just so from a bare bones, basic, flat fact level, yes, I think they're right. Human beings have this indispensable freedom to hit on other human beings. Now, in the immediate and the specific cases, maybe yes, maybe no. Does the Me Too deprive men of that? To some degree, yes. To some degree, yes. I mean, you're going to freak people out. Until the pendulum swings back to some level of mid-range, and I suspect that this conversation is probably the pullback on that, or the beginning parts of a pullback. You're going to freak people out. And the boss of my company was like, yeah, man, I'm terrified of doing anything that women would take a particular way. Because what you need to understand is some of this boils down to perspective. It's not a flat fact thing. It's not both of us are understanding reality in the exact same way. It becomes relative to one another. Bob says something. Susie is okay with Bob saying it. Susie even likes Bob's personality. And them two get along fucking swimmingly well. Bob said something. Joanne doesn't like what Bob just said. Now, what Bob just said was perfectly okay with Susie. What Bob just said was perfectly okay with, let's say, 95% of the population. But Susie is a little hyperreactive and oversensitive, and Susie flips out. Susie screams, "Me too." And she said Bob said something to her that was inappropriate. Bob is labeled a sexual something. And Bob is ostracized in the office. And Bob may lose his job. Just from a reality standpoint, there are times where things go too far and there's a pullback. The article doesn't seem to minimize it to me. It's her allergies, doc. Yeah, she ran into a door. Nita Williams, all of us have to be more selective. Yeah, fair enough. I won't take a meeting in a hotel room under any circumstances. Hotels have lobbies, restaurants, and meeting rooms. You're saying because you can't necessarily trust it. Yeah, you do think about that. Like, I have to be honest. Look, one of the benefits or positives of Me Too has been this kind of reflection on your own behavior. Like, is there anything that I've done that may have triggered that line where somebody said it was sexual assault? I don't think there's anything I've done that was sexual assault. I tend not to want, I don't want anybody doing anything for me if they're not interested in doing it for me, if that makes sense. I get no thrill out of somebody doing something purely for my benefit. If you're doing it, I want you to do it. It's kind of like, it was some TV show where it was like, I want you to want to do the dishes. It was like, well, nobody in their right mind wants to do the dishes. But if you're interacting with me, I want you to want to be with me, not necessarily because I want you to be there. There's a difference in those things. I would rather you not be there or not to do it if you're disinterested in it. My point is, interacting, I'm the same way. Like, I've never done anything where I'm like, I'm imposing my will on somebody else because I would get no thrill out of it. It's just, it doesn't do anything for me. That being said, in hitting on somebody, have I hit on people? Yes. Yes, I've hit on women before. Have I hit on women when I was somewhat tipsy? Yes. In those cases, were they receptive? Yes. I don't want to hit on people who aren't receptive. But what if you hit on them and they weren't receptive? Like, is the just very act of a hit on all of a sudden a sexual assault? And if that is true, if that's true, and we need to kind of tamp down even just basic interactions. It's like signing a contract. It's like, hey, here's the contract. So it says I'm going to kiss you on the lips. I'm going to put my tongue in your mouth. Is that okay? Okay, no tongue. Are you sure no tongue? Okay, no tongue. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm going to grab your left breast. Is that okay? Okay. Okay. I'll grab your left. I mean, is this really what we're trying to go as a society? Is this really where we're trying to go as a society? Then they're getting rid of movies like 50 Shades of Grey and stuff like that. It was like they need to take this off the shelves because it's showing the guy beating the shit out of a woman. Forget the fact that that woman is perfect agency in that, and she's requesting that. It can go too far, man. This letter is not crazy. This letter is not crazy. Eval, well, if you want a fast hookup, you gotta take responsibility if things go wrong. Eval, for being a stranger. Use a well, see, okay, so that's fair. But this is kind of my point where I say, you know, guy, yes, human beings have agency to hit on people, but those people also have agency to say they don't want to be hit on. When I say hit on, by the way, I don't mean anything extreme. Like, I don't mean walking up to somebody and grabbing their ass. I don't mean that. I guess I just mean you're talking to someone, I guess you make a pass. I guess what does it mean to make a pass? That gets too sketchy. That gets too slippery. I guess the word is slippery in this case. Josh, bro, if you change your mind, it stops. I don't play the shit of, well, we've got this far. No, you have agency. You're a human being. You're a human being. You have agency. Dax Jacob, a woman needs a lawyer too. Yeah. Would you say everybody needs a lawyer at this point to have sex? Jamal forced me to sign a contract. I need a contract that guarantees the signing was consensual. Right. Consent contract. Oh, man. Well, I guess there would always be a clause in a consent contract. There was it, was it one of the European countries? One of the European countries had, I think, in their laws that if you had sex with somebody, then, and you're having sex, you're doing somewhat of a contract, just kind of a consensual contract, implicit. If something comes up that wasn't true, you can sue the person for rape. Like, so say you and I hook up, whoever that I is, I don't know who that I is, the mythical I. And in hooking up, they told me that they were a rocket scientist working on a ship to get human beings to Mars. And they told me this because I was immediately turned on when she said that. And she knew that there would be, she watched my show and she was like, oh, this would totally get him. He would totally hook up with me if he knows this. He would be like, oh my God, she's so hot. She's building fucking rocket ships. And then later on I find out she doesn't build rocket ships. That instead of building rocket ships, she's on some kind of hedge fund and she, lies for a living anyway, so this was right up her alley. I can sue her in court for rape. I was like, I would have never slept with you under those circumstances. It was only because of the lie that you allowed to sleep. Like, it's like you can go after somebody for a rape charge if what they were telling you was not true in that particular moment. Meaning they were being dishonest in order to get you into the set. That's fascinating. That's fucking fascinating. Yeah, that's fucking fascinating. Men would continue to have just as much sex, but with who? That's funny. Ridiculous Bernie, bro. Men will have to go gay. Good luck with that one. What I suspect is the balancing thing. Like, I think, look, the Me Too creates a platform, and I think that platform needs to stay. I don't like this. I am libertarian on this front, like real libertarian on this front. I want to be left to my own devices. And in being left to my own devices, I want choice. I want choice. I don't want my choice undermined by somebody perving on me. And I would imagine that the same thing would be true whether I was a man, woman, gay, or otherwise. Like, I don't want women in that situation. I don't want men in that situation unless they want to be in that situation. I mean, yeah, I don't want men in this situation unless they want to be. I want people to have choice. I want people to have agency. That's my default on this stuff. You jealous of Joe and Jared? Why are you jealous of Joe and Jared? The dude lost his job. Oh, because of the orgy? He lost his job because of the orgy. Not to mention they call the man a rapist. They can call the guy a rapist. I don't think you should be jealous of that. Tip Rock 87. How about a safe word women say like no? Safe word says to be something other than no. Just by typical rule. If you're playing around and the person is saying no, but if you're talking about safe words are used to something other than no. I agree with Nita Williams that age of casual sex is over, but I believe it's more a result of religious fundamentalism. Kashwari Kid, I agree with you. That is more of religious fundamentalism. But I don't think casual sex is over. I don't think casual sex was over even during the religious age. Like, I suspect this will balance out. Like, I strongly suspect that you would get to a point where, like anything else, it gets to be this kind of new normal in regards to how people interact with one another. Casual sex is not the problem. I mean, even what people are talking about has nothing to do with casual sex. What they're talking about is, I'm being sexually abused at work. This person is trying to perv on me or something like that. I don't think women take issue with guys making passes at them when they actually want those passes. Or women being receptive to sex. I would imagine women are just as horny and ready to go as men. The question becomes who and whether that connection is right for that particular person. I don't think the issue is casual sex. I think the issue is people perving on one another. If that makes sense. I don't think promiscuity is a bad thing. That's my point. I don't think sex is a bad thing. Casual sex can easily become a thing again as soon as it becomes too restrictive. Right, yeah, the pushback. There's always a pushback. Those things tend to run in, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. Casual sex is just a cute name for promiscuity that one night stands. Okay, yeah, whatever you want to call it. You can use whatever word you want to use. Have, a lot of sex, so one person hooking up with a bunch of people, people being free love. Yes, if between violence and sex, I would take violence any day. I mean, I would take sex any day of the week on twice on Sundays. I'm always amazed that we can sit into a movie theater, we can watch somebody get shot in the face, get their head cut off, all this stuff, and then you get to a sex scene, two people kiss, and then they go somewhere else. Like the movie cuts off. Oftentimes, you don't see the most natural thing in the world. All of us were birthed into this physical matter reality through an act of fornication. So, one guy stuck his vagina in another woman. And it might have been good, it might have been bad, it might have been somewhere in between. But ultimately, that was the way that you got into this planet. It's weird to me that that's the hidden thing. That's the hidden thing. The thing that feels good, the thing that gives love. That's the thing that's hidden and frowned upon and shamed and all this other stuff. Yes, more promiscuity. Promiscuity is a good thing. Violence, not so much. Violence, not so much. Create this medication that allows people not to have kids until they want to have kids. And then have at it. Have at it. Let people be people. Twice on Sundays. That's right. Twice. Every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Unlikely ally. Proper pair bonding etiquette. Are you an alien studying our culture? That's funny. Mark P. When I feel like a prude compared to people both younger and older than me, it's weird. Lots of people hooking up here in Australia. Look, Mark, my reasoning for this is most of the stuff that we interact with is just issues of culture. Issues of culture I don't consider to be all that real. There are reasons for these things that come up in our culture and all this other stuff, but oftentimes stuff is just as real. Like these religious dogma and everything else. Like, you don't think it's weird that you can watch a movie theater, let's say like John Wick or 300, and they're doing this in violence with these guys with these ripple muscles, and these, they have swords and shields, and, one guy blocks it and kicks a guy into a bottomless pit, and we were like, oh my God, he kicked the guy into a bottomless pit, he fell to his death. It was so badass. Then this other guy chops somebody else's head off. This other guy gets his, spleen cut out. And we watch this. We'll sit through Saw. And we'll watch a guy cut his arm off. We'll watch another guy cut his leg off. With other contraptions, just completely murder and decapitate people. And we'll watch it. And we'll be like, oh man, that's so awesome. That movie was great. We'll watch John Wick shoot 100 people in a film. And we would cheer John Wick on. Finding clever and creative ways to murder people. We'll watch James Bond. James Bond give a nice quip, this clever quip when somebody gets murdered. But sex scenes get to be rated R. And if you add a vagina into it, oh man, you're getting rated, triple X or something. You don't think that's weird? Sex is the thing that brought everyone into the world, brought people into the world. That's the thing that actually gives happiness. People are happy as can be when they're getting it on. That's the thing that's bad. That's the thing that's shamed and shunned. That's the thing that you can't show in movies. That's the thing that's this big to do. It's like somebody has an orgy and it's like, oh my God, that guy had an orgy. It's so cool. Why is that the odd thing? My mom and I were in a conversation today. It's like women showing their breasts. And she couldn't, for the life of me, could not make an argument to me why it was okay for men to show their breasts, but women not to. Couldn't make an argument at all. But she felt strongly that women shouldn't show their tits. And it's like, but why? It's like I was trying to make the point to you're cultured into that belief. That's purely a cultural belief. You feeling comfortable with men showing their breasts or their chest, but women not. That's purely cultural. There's no reality to it. It's unreal. It's weird. I'm going on a tangent. I found a lot of stuff weird. That's all. Too much violence because sex is suppressed. It brings frustration that is transformed into violence. So story time, that's another thing I told her. I told her in pre-Columbian time, in Howard Zinn's History of the United States, People's History of the United States. One of the things that are in the logs of the Columbus gang is information on the people themselves of who was here first, the actual uh, indigenous population of America. And they were making this point that they were naked. They, men and women interacted with one another. They were completely naked. And oftentimes they would look, they wouldn't stare at women's breasts, stare at their vaginas and all this other stuff. Because for them it was as natural can be. Our societies, we arrange our societies a particular way. We're malleable in this way. It's not, given by God that people act this way. We're malleable. We conform in many ways to the societies and the way those cultures were evolved. In their cases, clothing was somewhat optional. And at the very least, they didn't have this thing where, women's bodies were hidden away and protected and all this other stuff. Men can show their bodies. Men are independent. But women must be shielded and protected and hidden from the society. And I was trying to make this point to her. If you're in a Muslim country and you're wearing a burqa, they would make the argument in that country that men are animals and men can't control themselves. So they need to be in burqas, because that man would just lose it. He'd be like, I'm seeing her ankles. It's so exciting to me. So exciting to me to see her ankles. But the reason for that is because they're in a burqa. Like, it's the other way around. It's not like men get overly excited if women aren't wearing a burqa. It's the other way around. Man gets overly excited when women are wearing a burqa. You've exposed them and suppressed that particular thing and making men want that particular thing that you yourself are expressing. It's like having booze or making booze outlawed or illegal. It doesn't go away. There's still a black market for booze. There's still people who want booze. You end up with gangs and violence and everything else to supply that particular need. There's something that particular human being want or those human beings want. And as a government, you're trying to strong arm them into getting that thing, creating a black market for that particular thing. I'm saying that in the same way that this black market is just naturally evolved or created just from virtue of the policies that go contrary to what human beings want and just the way human beings are. It's the same thing with clothing. You put that woman in a burqa. Those people see a burqa all the time. They see women's ankles and they're like, oh my God, I'm having a massive erection seeing her ankles. So excited. Did you see her ankles? Did you see her ankles? They were so hot. But that's because when the society itself, when those people grow up, they've grown up not seeing those things. Those things have been so suppressed and hidden from them that that's the way they behave when they get the opportunity to see something like that skin or something else. I'm saying it's for us the same way. Suppressing the nipple, not showing the nipple, hiding women's breasts away in the way that we do, as if they're kept and coddled, something that can't be seen, that women don't have this kind of independence of their own, that they have to hide this because the men in society are trying to hide them away. No, independence. In the same way that I have the independence to walk around with no shirt on and be bare-chested in the sun, in the same way that Vladimir Putin could ride a bear bare-chested, women also should be able to ride bears and horses and anything else bare-chested. Free the nipple. That's where I'm at. Free the goddamn nipple. Don't repress the breasts. That's right, Robert Bouquet Ray. Don't repress the breasts. God damn it, I'm fighting for women's rights. Jamal does all his videos naked from the waist down. It's disgraceful. I don't do all of them that way, dude. I don't do all of them that way. Just 10%. Just 10%. Unlikely ally. I hear from some people with very large breasts that non-bras are uncomfortable to them, but I agree. It should be your choice. Well, right. I'm not saying that all women must go naked. That would be the opposite of that. Like that. This is not women must be bare-chested by law. This is not where I'm going with that. I'm saying it's choice. I'm saying if you choice. I've seen women breastfeed and men be like, you shouldn't be doing that in public. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? It's like at some point, either you're a breastfeed or somebody, why are you hiding this? What do you believe? It's like, do you honestly believe that with the proliferation of pornography that's online, that anybody who's under the age of 16 hasn't seen a breast? Anything you want. Anything you want. You're honestly believing that these kids are this unaware of what the world is. Let's be honest. It is weird to me that it's perfectly okay to sit in a movie theater where one of the characters would murder a bunch of people, but showing women's breasts is mind-blowing. It becomes a mind-blowing thing. We do weird things with sex that I don't fully understand. And the way we treat nudity is bizarre. It's bizarre. So, I mean, it's fucking amazing. Without bras, it's hard to run. I'm not saying to go without bras. Jesus Christ. I'm not making the argument that in every outing, you must be bare-chested. That would be interesting and badass, but that is not the argument that I'm making. I'm making the argument that if you're a woman of, let's say it this way, if your breasts are sufficient size where it is not uncomfortable to be bare-chested in the sun, where you can go running on a beach like you're on Baywatch and it doesn't necessarily hurt, or for the most part, you're just perfectly okay, you just want to go that particular way as you're laying in the sun on the beach, you should be allowed to. You should be allowed to. If a guy can do it, women should be able to do it too. I'm saying it's somewhat weird that we put the stigma on women's breasts in this way, and that it's to some degree puritanical to keep women hidden and barred away in this particular way. It seems weird to me that men have this right to expose their chests anytime that they want. Society looks at this and thinks that there's no inequity here. I just find that to be amazing. There is a massive inequity here. You've created the schism in your society where one of the sexes, that not default sex, by the way, men are not default. Be very clear on that. Men are not default. The non-default sex can bare their chest whenever they want, but the other one, not so much. I just find it weird. I just find it strange. Boobs are feeders for your babies. Yes, they are. They're enjoyables for other things for sure, but also feed babies awesomeness. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Legally, we can practically be bare-chested anyway, as long as the nips are covered. I don't have to cover my nips. I don't have to cover my nips. Why do you have to cover yours? I guess I'm making this point to you guys that this is an issue of independence, and this is an issue of rights. And I'm saying, why on earth can men show their tits with nipples included, but women cannot? And if men is not a default, meaning women are not a special case, there are just as many women, if not more, than men in this world. Meaning if anybody was the default, it would be the woman. Meaning the man would be the oddball in this, in regards to its chest. Why is that the woman? This seems massively puritanical to me. I don't understand why the people don't see this as being that way. That's all. Guys should have a cover their nips too. Fair is fair, and it'll be funny. That's right. But you're kind of going reverse. You're being regressive on me. I'm saying it's the other way around. The other way around should be better. You're a human being, man. You're a human being. Why is your body something to be scandalized? And why is it something that needs to be covered and shamed? You walk into a grocery store. I think it's weird for men to walk down the street with no shirt on. Fair enough. But, you know, you have some guys out there who feeling themselves. If Vladimir Putin was walking on the streets of somewhere, anywhere, I think he always walked bare-chested. I just have this image in my head that everywhere Vladimir Putin goes, he goes bare-chested. So, fair enough. But if somebody was with him and doing the same thing, it would look down upon it. It was a female. I just find it weird. No one is ever going to be the boss of these nips. Whose nipples are free? These guys. Show us your boobs, Shmal. Donald Levette. It's not about doing it all the time. It's just this kind of point of you should have a right or the option. I just think when I hear people talk about women's rights and everything else, my mind goes to that to some degree because I think to myself, why is a schism in society that allows one to do it but not the other? It's just strange. Little tassels on beach Chris Christie. You're calling Chris Christie a beach whale? Double putting tassels on him? That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I'm not flashing anybody. Eval 79. Good night, people. Good talk. All right, Eval. Well, this has devolved into just, this kind of this fighting for women's rights, for freeing the nip. I don't have boobs, Donna. I had mine surgically removed when I was a kid. I know, right? Right now? Yeah. I had my boobs surgically removed when I was a child. I don't have any boobs anymore. But if you want to go out in public wearing a crotchless gorilla suit, I'm a creep, right? That's sexism. A crotchless gorilla suit. An assless gorilla suit would be more badass, and I think that would be illegal. You can go with assless chaps. Assless chaps are fair enough. Moni G. Thank goodness guys don't go crazy for the thong everywhere. Ridiculous Bernie Bro. Women unite to force men to wear tassels. No, it should be the opposite. That's kind of my point. You're a human being. Why is your body criminalized in this way? And why do you have to shield your body away? When other people, for the most part, know exactly the tools that you already have at your disposal. It's not like, that guy has 3 penises. There is nothing that you have that this other person hasn't seen. Throughout our society. You may have different sizes, you may have different weight, well, whatever. But ultimately, those things are the same. It is bizarre to me. Do they believe that people don't know what's under those tassels? Like, if you put... It just feels fucking ridiculous to me, that's all. Actually, old women burying their chests before men in certain conservative, perhaps Muslim societies is a form of protest. Wish I could remember more. That is badass. Fuckers. Yeah, that's pretty strong. Male mice have no nipples because once mice decide on a male, their nipples are removed by the genetic process. Humans lack a feature, but the god was a terrible engineer. Well, to be fair to God in this case, we don't necessarily do a good job taking care of the creation. Let's be honest. Many of the illnesses and fuck-ups and problems that we have, McDonald's, Burger King, fast food, we're pumping shit into our air, we're pulling shit out of the ground, the stuff that we put in our water, the stuff, plastics. We have no idea the long-term consequences of these things, and yet we do these things nonetheless. We have plastic in our sea salt, or in our salt at this point. Think of the shit that we're putting in our food. And understand that the reason we're doing that is not for any health reasons. We're doing it purely for these issues of profit. The monocrops all across the world. Those things, depending on the pesticides that those things may be using, may be the thing that be undermining the bee population. I mean, we're killing ourselves. Can't point to God on this. Can't put a God on this. You can say God could have been a better engineer to make human beings fucking impervious to everything. Fair enough, but I don't know anything that's impervious to everything. Sea salt caramel. Chauncey Stewart, looks are important. Looks are important. They're relative, but they're important. Oh, I'm sorry, Moni G. I'm sorry. Let's go talking about sex. So let's talk one more thing, and I think this part is interesting. So I've heard people make arguments that women shouldn't get involved in S&M. I've heard this argument before. And I remember in this argument, this was, I think, during the time 50 Shades of Grey came out. The very first time. And the argument is so bizarre to me. It's essentially saying, look, women shouldn't have agency. Women shouldn't be able to make the decision to submit in this way. Even though that what they're playing is a game. And she at any point can call a safe word in order to end the entirety of the process. I'm going to make this case that there is a freedom in slavery, at least in BDSM, because to some degree you're choosing. And I know that sounds really bizarre. Like you're essentially making this choice to submit to like a dom or something like that. And mind you, this is from the context of women submitting to a dom. That's a guy. At any point, the woman can say, she can scream red or whatever their color is. It's like, osteoporosis. Safe word. It's like getting a safe word that's gross enough that makes everything stop. Like, oh yeah, okay, we gotta stop. But she's free in that moment. She is literally like the person makes the choice and says, I'm going to submit to this particular person because for whatever reason there's something in me that enjoys being taken and enjoy being kind of roughed up and having somebody who actually wants me in order to kind of like allow them to manipulate or turn me into this malleable thing that they use for a period of time. In that, they are free. It's a weird dichotomy. It's like a dialectic of sorts. The very act of their submission to some degree is their freedom. In my grain, and all this is pinned upon a person choosing to do something like this, not necessarily the person being coaxed into it. If the person doesn't like it and they're just kind of doing it for somebody else's benefit, then yeah, they're not going to like it. But yeah. I find this stuff interesting, man. I find it interesting. You have every right to go out looking like a slob. Yeah, if you want to. In the same way, you have an indispensable freedom. You hit on people. You have an indispensable freedom to go out looking like a slob. And people have a right to look disgusted at you. Yes, people do have a right to look disgusted at you. Both of those things are true. Both of those things are true. Paddle pause. No, it's not weird at all. I don't think it's weird. I don't think it's weird. I've heard conversations with people who are in a lifestyle, like the BDSM lifestyle, where it goes just beyond this person is just doing a scene or just having fun, a particular night. And they make a similar argument. It's like this level of, because I choose to do this, to some degree, I am free in allowing this particular person to do what they want to do. Mind you, they trust the person who they're interacting with. But at the same token, that trust comes with this tinge of fear and this tinge of, okay, what the fuck is this person going to come up with? But it's somewhat of a dialectic. In service, they're free, and that type of thing. But I find it interesting. Stephanie, just doing my best to make everyone as uncomfortable as possible in this chat through vague insinuations. What? That's funny. Not into being a submissive, forsaken companion. The Dom part is more fun to me, personally. The submissive part freaks me out. The Dom part is more fun to me. It's but that's when you play that way. I mean, don't play that way all the time, but it's still fun. Yeah. And it's funny. It's not even. I've searched my feelings on this. I wanted to understand what's the thing? What's the thing that drives you? What's the thing that you like about it? Like if you're looking at a scene, and it's a BDSM scene, and what's the thing that triggers something in your head that says, "Oh, I like this," or "Oh, I don't like this." What's that thing? And I figured out for me what it was. It's justice. That sounds so fucking bizarre, but it's justice. It's this idea of, how can I say this? It's like there's something funny and it feels like just desserts when you've seen somebody was a dom and then that person turned around and be a sub, and it feels like they've earned this. And in that, there's a justice. It's fucking hilarious. I love it. Unlikely ally. Whoa, we just got a glimpse into Jamal's personal life. Well, we got a glimpse into my personal life talking about this very specific topic. Yeah. I think I've mentioned this before. That's true, Nanyos. If someone who was into BSM should quit, someone... Well, yeah, as long as they have a choice. Right? And all the sex trafficking, child pornography. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you've taken this to a completely different spot. Wait, that might not be BDSM. No, well, not if you're talking about child pornography. No, you've kind of jumped out that sandbox of BDSM into something completely more tragic. Powerful people like being free of making decisions. Lorms, yeah, I've heard that too. Like, you might have like a CEO of a company, and he gets a mistress, and she beats the shit out of him for an hour, and it makes him feel free because he has, decision-making capacity all through the day. Yeah. That's just funny. One of the people who was watching the show the other day was like, she's, I would love to be a dom. She was like, I'll be beating the shit out of somebody saying, I need to pay my baby's college, college loans. It's fucking hilarious. It is a fascinating subject. It is a fascinating subject. It's I just think people should have. When I think of all the things in life that we organize ourselves around, and we organize ourselves in a way that's difficult, that often have lack, even though it's not necessarily necessary. Like we've organized ourselves in an odd way, and the things that make people happy and give people this kind of joy and pleasure, we've put that to the side as being bad things, and as being bad things, something that is talked about, something that's chastised and hidden, and all this other stuff. And yet, violence is perfectly okay. Abuse, perfectly okay. Leaving somebody on the street, not having their needs met is perfectly okay. Sex is bad. Sex is bad. Independent outsider. Jamal needs to run for office with this as his platform and cannibalism. I know, right? You've realized that any political aspiration at this point is just done. Like the conversation on cannibalism alone was fucking killed any political aspirations. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, that killed all political aspirations. It was like, he was saying that people should be cannibals. Like, well, no, he wasn't saying people should be cannibals. Mainly because they wouldn't get the context. Like, intentionally, the context will be completely devoid of any help on that. Jamal for morality police. Love you, Jamal. I don't think I'm in the morality police. Morality from the standpoint of allowing people to be people. Everything else I don't particularly care about. Like, I honestly, Gardner was like, you're making the libertarian argument. Yes, because often I float in that way. I end up on that side of this thing of allow people to be people. I want people to be free and actualized human beings. I just don't think you can be free and self-actualized if you don't have a house, if you don't have food to eat, if you don't have anywhere to stay, if you're cold, if you're lonely, that type of stuff. In order for you to be that free person, there's certain requirements that you have that need to be met. Food, clothing, shelter, and I would argue a sense of fulfillment. That sense of fulfillment is doing whatever you want to do to contribute. And mind you, this society isn't perfect. People still work in this particular society. People still have something or the things that they do in that society. But that's a different scenario of a person who's self-actualized. That's what I mean. Beyond that, though, have at it. Fuck around, have fun. There's no purpose. Enjoy yourself. It's always freedom when you're in survival mode. Yeah, agree. That's my point. That is my point. What? Patty Pauls, if Trump could win office, then no matter what you do, you still have to hope for office. You could shit on someone's desk and people will rationalize it. Look at him, triggered all those people by what? But shitting on the desk. Yeah, I think he would some trigger people shit on the desk. People are obsessed with the sexual behavior of others. Yeah, but I suspect that's because we hide it away. This is kind of my point. Like, you have cultures pre-Columbian that were naked, and for the most part, nobody cared that anybody didn't have clothes on. They grew up in a society, boy, that was normal for them. It wasn't a big deal. Human beings are malleable. That's the way they were interacting with one another. Our society, clothing, sexual is bad, sexual repression, all this other stuff. And so people become infatuated with this idea of sex and what other people's sexes have. It was, oh, what are they having? What are they having? What are they having? Did he stroke? What did he do? Yeah. Yeah. It becomes seedy. Triggered the fake truth advocates by voting for Chelsea Manning. Yeah, man, I like that vote. I like the idea he's running in Maryland. I really do. Alright guys, it's been an hour. I had no intention of being here this long. I thought this story was going to go pretty quick. And now, creepy Joe Biden. Poolside transparency. None of your business. Poolside transparency. There was an article. This article always strips me out. It's the funniest shit ever because I can kind of see Joe Biden doing it. Or at the very least, I laugh in my head in the image of Joe Biden doing this. They were saying when Joe Biden's... when Joe Biden has security guards with him, or had security with him, Secret Service agents, when his wife was away, he would go swimming in the pool naked. He would just naked as a jaybird. And the people was like, he was doing it on purpose. He only did it when his wife wasn't there. And somebody in the chat, I think it was Bob Ramirez, that said something like poolside transparency. And I was like, yeah, poolside transparency is right. Uncle Joe's cosmetic surgery cracks me up. I picture his skin tied to the top of his head. Joe Biden forced to look at a pube hair and a Coke can. Oh. Oh. The reactionary right and center are like hornets on Chelsea's comments right now. Well, they can go fuck themselves. It's a good damn thing that he's in that particular position. And I hope he wins it. I hope he takes that other guy out of his seat. You know, the person he's running against was trying to put a law that would have made it illegal to protest or to support the BDSM movement. Think about that. They're making a law saying it is illegal to protest Israel. Non-violently, by the way. That's fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. I wish her all the luck in the world. And I want her to take that, I think his name, Cardin. Take him out that seat. Take him out that seat. Oh, you talking about Manning? Oh, yeah. If I said he, is not intentional. It's not intentional. I fuck up pronouns when dealing with Manning. That's not intentional. He's like, always say she. I am against forcing people to say she, by the way. But I agree you should say she. I think just as a sign of respect, you know, if the person wants to be called a she, call the person a she. By the same token, I can't force somebody else to call Chelsea Manning a she. It's their right. It's their choice. But I would say, if you're respecting or you're being respectful, yeah, if the person wants to be called a she, call them a she. It's womaning now. Chelsea can be a dude. No. Chelsea can't be a dude. It can be either one. Yeah, it can be either one. Neither is groping their kids. What? What are you talking about? None of your business. You're in some dark places, man. You're in a dark place, man. In a dark place. All right. I'm going to end this. We've gone over an hour. And for the most part, we've talked about some raunchy stuff. Let's see. I think this started off on this idea of, has Me Too gone too far? And I think my answer to this was yes and no. Like, no from the standpoint that, yes, it's done amazing things in regards to allowing women a safe space. And women should have that safe space, because nobody should be harassed and sexually harassed. It's like you're trying to do a job and people are fucking around with you. By the same token, if it gets to the point where it's catching people who are just making passes, like, it gets ridiculous at a certain point. Like, a guy shouldn't have to write a contract in order to give his interest to another female. There is something human about this idea of interacting with one another and making passes, be it a man to a woman to a man, or man to a man, woman to a woman. So yeah, I gave my perspective. I gave my spiel. The audience gave their spiel. I don't know if we've come to any resolution, but I do think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of both. It's kind of a common sense thing. Like anything else, it can go too far. You can drink too much water. You can die if you drink too much water. Water is usually good for you. Anything like that. Now reality seems to go into this idea of a spectrum. It's just kind of straight common sense that, yeah, at a certain point, it is fucking awesome for the Me Too thing. At another point, not so much. Not so much. So, I am going to end this. What? Want to play the rape game? No. The spirit? I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that means. I don't think he's creepy. I don't think he's a creep. I think he's touchy-feely. Who are you talking about, Joe Biden? Yeah, I don't know which one it is with Joe Biden. honestly don't know. I've had friends who are touchy-feely. This is kind of my point. Kenny, friend of mine, touchy-feely. Kenny, guy or female. And the problem would be, as guys, we just kind of understood that he's just this way. He's touchy-feely. Where he's like, oh, dude, you feel like you're fucking molesting me. But he's just touchy-feely. That's just the way he is. That's the way he expresses himself. It's not sexual in any way. He did this to a woman, I think, who wasn't familiar with him. And mind you, again, he's just this way. It's like, he's not groping, but he's definitely putting his arm around, he's hugging, that type of stuff. He's touchy-feely. And she flipped out. She acted like the guy was coming on to her or whatnot. And when Nisa was like, yeah, kind of slightly expected that. Yeah, you see, he can be a little touchy-feely. A little touchy-feely. Watch the video of him talking about girls. I think I've seen that video. I think I've shown that video. None of your business. It's the same argument with Weinstein. Men in power need to understand it can easily come across as inappropriate. No, it's not the same argument. This is kind of my point. This is precisely my point on the going too far thing. Harvey Weinstein kept a woman in a room and masturbated in a plane. Are you telling me that Kenny putting his arm around somebody is the exact same thing as Harvey Weinstein masturbating into a plane and keeping a woman in a room? It's not the same thing. This is my point. This is my point. It's not the same thing. Kenny does that to men and women. Kenny literally may just give somebody a hug, or he may put his hand around you as he's having a conversation with you. Now, somebody who's touchy says, oh my God, he's touching me. This is inappropriate. 99% of the people understand that Kenny is not being inappropriate. This particular person, not so much. It's kind of the issue with the whole thing. Well, when they're saying it may go too far. Story time. It's true. It's not the same thing, but when men that are too touchy might go too far, and we don't know about that yet. No, I agree with you on this. Like, I guess my point is, there's a gray area where there's a misconception. And in that gray area, the very act of calling somebody and saying, me too, this guy did this, automatically undermines what the guy's going to say. Meaning, it doesn't really matter what takes place. The woman's word is taken for regardless of the situation. I'm saying that's problematic. In Kenny's case, you talk to 10 people, they would have told you, yeah, this is not the case. This is not the case. She's misunderstanding this, or she's completely misinterpreted what's taking place. But it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. They would have said, oh, he touched somebody inappropriately. No, he doesn't have a history of this. Yes, no, he doesn't have anybody else saying this. Yes, everybody knows that Kenny tends to be touchy-feely. Yes, he does this to men and women. Doesn't necessarily matter. No, he's not doing this in a sexual way. And yes, she felt uncomfortable with this. But there's a slight difference between somebody feeling uncomfortable and then this honest opinion, or this somewhat slightly more objective approach of, well, should they have felt uncomfortable? Now, mind you, I'm asking that question because ultimately, whether or not she should have felt uncomfortable is going to be the determining factor of whether this guy gets in trouble. So it's vitally important on determining whether or not the degree to which she freaked out was adequate and appropriate. Certainly, it's not going to always be appropriate or adequate. I'm just saying, on the edges of the Me Too thing, yeah, it becomes somewhat problematic, particularly for people like Kenny. Like, if you're going to be a jerk, just smack the ass. Don't hover over your hand like you're going like, ooh. Okay, yeah, Stephanie, you're living a particular lifestyle. I don't know what's going on with you on this one. I love that. If you're going to be a jerk to me, just slap my ass. Don't hover your hand over my ass. I might feel some kind of way about that. I love that. It comes down to hack guys will get away with it and ugly guys won't. Oh man, that's fucked up. that's fucked up, Dax. That's pretty fucked up. Alright. I'm really going to end this time. You guys have a good night. This was way off the rails conversation. Yeah, this was off the rails. This was slightly weird. I just thought it was funny. The thing itself, the Me Too thing, and I thought it was an interesting conversation to have, seeing as I've had the conversation with somebody else in real life. Let me know what you think, man. Nobody is going to be at the end of this. But let me know what you think if anybody got into this wandering, everybody's just running their mouth, free-formed BDSM / cannibalism / etc., etc., etc. So, who does it not way off the rails? And free the nipple, that's right. I made a staunch, strong advocacy for free the nipple. I don't get enough credit for that, to be honest. Women don't give me enough credit for being the avatar of their angst and anxiety on this. I don't get enough credit. You women don't give me enough credit for fighting for your right to free the nipple. My wife's allergies are acting up again. BDS is freedom. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Jamal, scroll up so you don't think I'm a freak, damn it. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, hey, man. I'm not judging. I'm not judging. There's no judgment here, Steph. I'm not judging you. There's nothing wrong with a double nip. Yeah, we already knew that stuff. No fear. There's no judgment in this. I free the nipple all the time. But no one cares because I'm a dude. Exactly, John Crab, and that's my point. Shouldn't be that way. Shouldn't be that way. Our counterparts, our better halves, should also be able to free the nipple when they go out in public. Just have a ball. Just have a ball. Unless you're hot, go some gay dude. Jamal should free the nipple right now. This is purely for women, man. We already have the right. I can use the right anytime I want. This is a fight for women. This is a fight for the other half. A war to free the nipple. Robert Pouquet Ray. I went full Latino smartass. I was like, first off, you swear. What? Go ahead, Green Party. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ryder. What's your question? Jamal just want to see more titties. I think all men, for the most part, are okay with seeing more tits. But I'm getting at a more deeper point here, Steph. It's not about seeing tits in this way. It's about equal rights. And I understand what I mean by this. The war for gay marriage, meaning trying to get people in the LGBTQ community to be able to marry. And they made an extraordinarily big deal about this idea of being able to marry. There were legal ramifications to this idea of marriage. But there was also this kind of cultural indication of marriage. Meaning we're of lesser value if we can't have the same thing that you guys have. You guys have a marriage. Why are you creating this other section for us to interact in? I'm kind of making this point that this is very similar. It might not be the same gravity because, you know, you're talking about something that's overt as marriage. But I'm saying, is your body yours or not? And if your body is yours, why don't you have the capacity, in the same way that men have the capacity, to go bare-chested? And if men can go bare-chested, why can't you? Are men the default species? If men are not the default species, which men are not, then how can they do it and women can't? Why do men have that right, but women don't? This is what I'm getting at. This is kind of my point. This is not about somebody wanting to see more titties, being cynical, SOB, good for you. This is more about freedom. It's about freedom and self-determination. And women should have both. Until you can free the nipples, you won't be free. You'll be under essentially under the control of the male patriarchal government that binds your breast in fabric and tissue and prevent you from showing it to the world. That's my fight. I'm fighting for you, Steph. I'm fighting for you, Steph. Unlikely ally. If a girl has a third nipple a bit northwest of her breast, is she allowed to expose the nipple in bikini and low-cut shirts? Oh, that's a good question. Like, if it's somewhat of a physical anomaly and it sticks up in a particular place, does the law allow her to show that? We get into these gray areas, man. If you're just allowed to be free in the first place, these questions don't come up. So, if all beaches were topless, it would be no big deal. Yes, that's my point. We make it a big deal because we cover it up. That's my point. The very act of depriving it is the thing that actually creates the incentive for it. It's like getting rid of alcohol and then all of a sudden you're having this black market of alcohol. The very act of you depriving people, human beings, of the ability for something or repressing something, you're creating this kind of dichotomy in which that thing that you're repressing also has this form of expression. You can't get away with it by hiding it. You get away with it by actually showing it. Yeah, same with drug. Yeah, John Melt, same with drug prohibition. That's right. When they legalized pot, you had drug use in other contexts go down. People just use the pot that was legal. And I still say, same thing with Muslim countries. They put a burqa on those women, and they get excited when they see those women's ankles. You take, it's like the very act of you putting the burqa on created this thing in men itself that wanted to see the thing that they were trying to repress that much more. Yeah, let it free, man. Flashers unite. Flashers unite. Run to Congress. 1 million women. Show your breasts to Congress. The United States censorship is pretty amazing. No titties but valences. Okay, that's my point. What are your thoughts on page 3 girls in the UK, where they used to have them? A bit of titties with the news. Are you serious? I didn't know that. That's fucking hilarious. What will guys have to look forward to if there's no cheesecake teasing anymore? People always say that, though. It's like, if there was a guy, if the elevator was automatic and electronic, and the elevator can just go to the 3rd or 4th floor by itself, and you didn't have an elevator man, what would people do? I mean, what did the elevator man do? He's out of a job. The elevator man found a different job. I'm pretty sure that there are other things that men would lust after if breasts are exposed. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they still won't lust after breasts. You understand, like, nobody is saying that women must go bare-chested. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Maybe I'm making this argument too forceful, in which case it feels like I'm going overboard. I'm just saying. In the same way that men have choice, women in this case should have choice. It doesn't mean that all women are going to go bare-chested in every opportunity. It just means that they have choice. Men will still lust after women in the same way that they lusted after women before. They will still, it's just like, if you want to be lusted after, then yeah, that's not going anywhere. I'm pretty sure there would be a series of men lusting after you if that's what you're looking for, Steph. It's like, what would men lust after if that was the case? Hey, if the woman poses for that picture willingly, have at it. Have at it. Ugly dudes would just skip the danger zones and stick to professional sex workers and get caught up with sex slaves happened in West Virginia months ago. Ah, you're downer Dax. I'm calling you downer Dax. Well, I mean, why wouldn't I want to be lusted after? Nobody said it was a bad thing. Nobody said it was a bad thing at all. Everybody wants to be wanted. I mean, I think so. No, I'm saying it doesn't change. Like just because if Congress came out today, Donald Trump comes out and says, look, I'm passing an executive order that women can show their breasts anytime that they want, nipples included. I'm Donald Trump. And he goes back and play golf. Do you think that men will stop lusting after you the moment that Donald Trump does that? Do you think men will stop lusting after you 10 years after Donald Trump does that? It would not change one iota. Only thing that changes is your option. It makes you equal in the society at that point. You don't have this patriarchal government that says I must cover women, I must control that particular woman in this particular way. It unravels. That's all I'm saying. Steph, you still would lust after. You still have men at your door and banging down, trying to lusting after you at this point. Careful what you wish for. I don't like budgie smugglers. What? Nor do I want to see saggy old titties. I'm all for freeing the nipples, but also wish to encourage more modern lifestyle. Oh, that's kind of fucked up. That's kind of fucked up. Bullshit, man. I'm okay with good tits. I don't want to see saggy tits. Really? You can't have it both ways, dude. Freeing the nipple has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them being able to just have the same rights that you have as a person. This idea of, I don't want to see no saggy tits. Fair enough. I would imagine that women say, I don't want to see saggy tits either. Or men. Or I don't want to see that guy who's 400 pounds that decides to come out of his house with no shirt on. I'm pretty sure women say the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure they say the same thing. That's right. It goes both ways. I just thought about that scene in What About Mary? Was her neighbor? Well, unfortunately for you, old women are much more likely to go down being topless. Good for them. They should. Why not? Why not? Have at it. You've lived the life. Let them free. Let them free. Be you. Be fantastically you. But it is what it is. I already get subjected to sunburnt hair, caved in, old men, bare chests. Right there. Exactly. Exactly. If Steph has to deal with it, then you have to deal with saggy boobs. Fair enough. It's choice to wear a bra, like some guys put condoms on before they go out. Nobody does that. Guys do. No way. There's no way. Guys do that? Guys put on condoms before they go out? Everyone should have the right. I'm just saying we also should encourage people to have the bit of modesty. Contradictory, I know. It's contradictory. You just the one who's like, look, I like this idea of freeing the nipple. I just want to see good tits, though. So we need to figure out a way to make sure they're only good tits. I see what's going on, bullshit, man. I'm calling bullshit on that bullshit, man. I'm calling BS on that. I'm calling BS on that one. Guys put on a condom to take a stroll. Yeah, that sounds hilarious. That sounds hilarious. Walking around with a constant erection to most young. Right. Yeah, I guess that's my point. That sounds weird. So they're going out to the club, and what? They have an erection on when they leave the house, and what? An hour later, what are they doing? What are they on? What are they on? What is that guy on? Why does he have an erection for an hour? Is that even safe? I don't think that's safe, man. I don't think that's safe. I'm extraordinarily skeptical that that's safe. Come on, in France we had years of topless beaches behavior. It worked out great, and we also Latins, hot stuff and it worked. Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't work. I don't even understand this argument against it, to be honest. How do you make an argument that says, well, men have tits? Yes, but men's tits are different. How are men's tits different? Well, they're smaller. Okay, so women with small chests can show their tits. Well, no either. Well, okay, well, what is it? What's the reason? What's the reason? What's the justification for one and not the other? I'm trying to understand the weirdness of this. And I'm trying to understand the weirdness on a few counts. Why can I watch a movie with somebody getting their head chopped off, but I can't see a woman's tits? So, come on, this shit doesn't make sense. It's weird. By the way, budgie smugglers are men swimming Speedos. Oh, I see. Budgie's a small bird. It looks like you stuck your small bird inside your briefs. Oh, man. This is funny. The slang. Just like, another reason why France is superior to America. Nude beaches. Nude beaches. Stephanie is looking for a nude beach. You go, Steph. Jin Ray, please call a doctor if your erection lasts 4 hours or longer. Yes, I know. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Everybody has their talents. If you can put on a condom and like 2 hours later, you're finally hooking up with somebody and that erection is still going. If you're in the wrong industry, you're in the wrong industry. You need to be a porn star. I've been to nude beaches before. It's totally natural. Yes, this is my point. This is my point. Thank you, Mr. X. This is my point. I'm glad my audience agrees. My audience is going to agree with me on this because you guys are lefties. Like, it's not stuck-up audience. We're like, oh my God, my body, the shame. The shame. Can't let my God see me naked and nude. Can't have my penis exposed in the air. It's like, come on. Liberal men don't wear condoms because they're risk takers, and liberal women have abortions and impregnate them. What? Oh, space cyber. What? Is that how it works? Is that how it works? It's called a pill, buddy. I'll put her on the pill. Hang with pagans if you want to do nude swimming or sit around fire. Yeah. I have too many body issues to do nude swimming. I never get naked myself, but they do it like on the regular. Whatever. You've been screaming about a nude beach on here for the past, 30 minutes. No judgment. No judgment at all. That's pretty badass, actually. Bullshit, man. I was mocking third page Tammy. Thinks Prime Minister should do a great job. Do you agree with her? Third page Tammy. I don't see the point, and it's time consuming. You mean for a condom? What's a condom? Nah, that's the natural boomers. JT, we love dark humor. Why are you always exaggerating, make me look like a freak, Jamal? I'm not exaggerating. Okay, 30 minutes is strong. 15? 10? Let's say 10. Let's go with 10. Let's go with 10. Let's say 10. Story time. I'm French and used to shave and wear a ton of makeup, high heels, and the whole thing, and now I'm more of a hippie. Both of those are hot. Yeah, both of those are hot, as long as you're being you. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm not having that debate. We're already an hour 30 minutes in. That's going to be another 30 minutes. J. Scott, let's do a penis size. Does a penis size matter debate? Oh, God. Yeah, not so much. We're not having that debate. If we were 15 minutes in, Jay, yes. Jenny Land, what is a penis? Jenny Land wants to know what a penis is. There are different words for it, Jenny Land. Yeah, there are different words for it. The different words. Representing Easy 1-2 French represents. Francis, liberty, fraternity. Liberty and fraternity. What is a pianist? Pianist. That's funny. Dax, there's something between the extremes of persistent to the point of annoyance when someone clearly isn't interested, and the ones who freak anytime someone... Yeah, yes, that's my point. That's my point. That's the Me Too extreme. That's what I'm saying. It's yes or no. If you see my penis, try to lure it out with some cheese. Oh, what? What? M99. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't remember, Jenny. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It's too bad. I'm sorry. I feel bad for you. I'm fighting on one end, man. I'm trying to get the nipple free. I can't do anything with the penis. I'm trying hard to recall. Forsaken Companion. Yeah, Jenny, I'm trying hard to recall. Mikey Mike, the Russian bot. Forsaken, you have to guess, right? That's funny. I've been to Jamaica, hedonism. Didn't want to go, but had the time of my life. Yeah, I guess. Look, I get in these conversations sometimes with the audience, whether we're talking about. Well, I guess this one leans into it just because we're talking about the Me Too thing. But I think we have an odd bias in our society that we don't even realize is a bias in our society, where this thing of violence is okay, but sex is bad. I just think it's bizarre. So when I have these conversations, they're talking about people have more love, have more sex, and free love and that stuff. That's kind of where I'm coming from, between the two things. Yeah. Birth control up and have fun. Birth control up and have fun. I see something about coupons. I can't speak French, Stephanie. I don't speak French. Something about a coupon, a feminine dominant coupon attached. What? I mentioned earlier, I think you missed it, bringing up the Me Too feminism topic with Holly Siegler when you chat. Her views are somewhat surprising, and I tend to align with her. I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up. If you're watching, ask the question, but I'll try to bring it up. Totally. Storytime coupons. Dang, you missed it. No, Stephanie, I can't read it. I don't know what you're saying. You wrote it in French. I don't speak French. If this was in Spanish, I can speak Spanish better than French. Let's write it in English. Do the dignity of writing it in English. Wretched, horrible person. I can't speak French. Something about a coupon. I just don't know what that coupon is. Q is still better than Picard Jamal. He's a fucking god almost. He's a god. What does it mean? In fact, I'm going to say no, not so much. In fact, I'm going to make the point that Picard being a man with his flaws and all, it was make him better. The flaws, the dents, the things that aren't necessarily the perfect. He's not a god. He's fighting against the currents of typical humanity and weakness and everything else. And he still excels, even when he's going up against and challenged by God. The fact that Picard, or that Q, continuously loses in his aims to Picard, I would say just by definition of the story itself, Picard is better. That's my argument. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Q, I'm being taunted in a language I can't speak. Alright, fine. I'll put this in. I want to see what it said. I see something about coupon. I want to see what this is saying. Let's see. Yeah, I want to see what this is saying. Right. Slight misspelled, but that's okay. Oh, I see. Alright. Now that it... Okay, I see. Now, in Spanish, this looks like... Do you have any coupons? But see, it's this part. Fem. I don't know what the last part is. Fem deriment. Have I given any coupons to women recently? The women. That part is funny because I'm perfectly married. Have I given any coupons to women? Just random women? I have not given any coupons to any random women. I said, have you ever given those a wife lately? No, I used one for something. What did I use that thing for? I don't remember what I used it for. I don't have any. She has one. I'm out of mine, meaning I don't have any protection. Like, you can use one coupon to blunt somebody else's coupon. So if something is taking place and it's like, I don't want to do that, I'm going to use my coupon to blunt that coupon. No, I haven't. She is one from that's left over. I got to be honest. The coupon thing slightly freaks me out when I'm on the other end and I know somebody's going to say, oh, dude, that's sexist. If we're playing around and we're using a coupon thing, meaning one person gets to choose, and that could be, hey, can you fix me breakfast, lunch, dinner? Or that can be, can I tie you up and put a ball gag in your mouth? Whatever it was. Within limits. Within defined limits, let me say it that way. And the person always still has their escape hatch, their bat chute. You can always say whatever your term is. I think mine is like osteoporosis or something. But no, she has a coupon. I don't. I'm out of coupons. She has a coupon. I don't. So I am. Yeah. Yeah. US Callister is amazing. By the way, USS Callister is fucking amazing, Jenny. Yes, it is. It is. I think I've done a video on that. If I have, I think I've done a video on that in Black Museum. That's how good those two were. Fucking love it. But no, Steph, I haven't given it. She has one. I think she has a 15-minute coupon. She hasn't used it. She's waiting to some inopportune time to pull it out and use it. I like having coupons. I like having the coupon myself. Like it clarifies what's taking place. In addition to clarifying what's taking place, I like having this thing of at that point it depends on what you're using it for. But if you're playing like BDSM stuff, you have control and it's like you have free will. Now that being said, though, the other way around freaks me out like nobody's business. It freaks me out. So one coupon to BDSM, please. Yeah, not so much. John. Yeah, the USS Callister was amazing. I want a coupon for a monster drink. If you're using your coupon, so she would say, "Hey, can you run the right aid and give me a monster drink?" It'll take about 15 minutes. So at that point, you're using 15 minutes to go get a monster drink. I wonder if she knows that he publicly talks about their coupons. Yes, she does. I don't think she cares. I don't see this as being it's human behavior. Like anybody who's together creates their own world, their own reality in regards to the relationship. And in our case, that works magnificently well. Like it adds this level of it adds a level of spice to the relationship. It just works. It just works. But yeah, she doesn't give a shit. I mean, I don't think I've ever gone into details about some of the stuff. But yeah, she knows to talk about the coupons. Because to be fair, the coupons could be anything. I mean, it could be, "Oh man, could you fix me a sandwich?" It's just like it's 3 a.m. Be like, "Hey, I need you to go fix me a sandwich." It could be anything. Or just to shut the fuck up for an hour coupon. Yeah, I would never use that coupon. I have better ideas in mind for my coupons. Jamal, giving a coupon. This is going to be blisteringly quick. 3 hours later. Oh, that's funny. Cuda man, Trump 2020. Good luck with that one. Trump's going to get his ass handed to him in 2022. I'm sorry. I understand French, but don't speak it much. Oh shit, this is going almost into 2 hours. Yeah, this has gotten... Yeah, Jenny Lynn. I fucking love USS Callister. I've watched that literally like 5 times. And I had watched it like 4 times before I got my wife to watch it. It is mind-blowing. Like the show, the Black Mirror in and of itself is a mind-blowing show. And I was making this point and how we were talking about Black Museum, the last one where the guy's being tortured endlessly for eternity and perpetuity, and this kind of creating a creature purely for the standpoint of that creature being tortured to death. Oh man, it's painful. It's painful to watch. It really is. Jamal, what are your thoughts on the U.S. Pirate Party? There's one in Massachusetts and California. I didn't know there was one in the United States. I didn't know there was one here. Sounds funny, the Pirate Party. Yeah, I didn't know there was one in the States. Who needs to sleep when we have Jamal to watch? Oh, that's funny. Well, at this point, I've deadened my spiel. At this point, I'm just talking to my audience. Just running our mouth. We're in California. Yeah, I didn't know that was in the States, the Pirate Party. I mean, I've heard the Internet Party. I've heard of, but see, even that, I didn't think it was in the States. What I want, honestly, man, what I really, really want, I would love for all humans are confusing and male humans are just confusion in its pure state. It is not. Some man haters here. My daughter was on edge for USS Callister. She said it's better not to end badly. She gets upset and depressed at the ends of Black Mirrors. But it's, you know, it's funny. There was I was shocked that it ended well. Like, it was one of those things where shocked the shit. I was like, holy shit, they had a happy ending. It was like, oh my god. And it's, you root for the characters. Like, you're in this thing where these people are being tortured. You have this godlike force that these people are going against. This is literally man versus his creator, but magnified in a way where it's talking about man versus his own creation. There's if somebody came to your house and they sat there and they talked to you, say, look, I need to be honest with you. You're a bit of code running on a system. Now, from standpoint of code, they don't mean code in the way that you mean code. They're just giving you this kind of mental indicator that you can latch on to so you can have a paradigm to understand it more. And all of this is run on a magnificent system. And we have several of these magnificent systems. We even have gateways between the systems so person A can go to the different systems. And he says, you really don't really have a body. I mean, you don't, none of this stuff really exists. I mean, ultimately, you have a consciousness that interacts with the system, that creates the matter and creates your form. Now, you could sit here and you think the guy was insane. And the guy, in some way, proves it to you. Maybe he does magic. Maybe he does something like Q or something like that, where he's shaping reality in the things that he's doing. And he's saying, look, I know to you this seems pretty fucking amazing, but to me, I just have I have a bit of code that allows me to unlock these features of the system itself. Meaning my consciousness is interacting with it. And the value that identifies me as a distinct unit in this particular model, this particular system, has the administrative controls turned off. So, because the administrative controls are turned off, I have access to administrative controls in the system, meaning I can, for the most part, shape space, matter, time, and reality any way I want to. And he starts to do it. He's shaping stuff in the house. He's moving stuff around. He's warping you into past, present, future, and all this other stuff. And you're blown away by this. What are you to think, though? This guy has just told you there's a different reality. This reality that you're in is being projected from that particular reality. Now, the fact that that reality is projecting this reality in no way gets you any idea or concept of what it means for something to be real or unreal. From your standpoint, anything that you experience is for the most part real. What he's telling you, however, is you're a sentient being. You're a sentient being running in a different universe from his universe. He just so happens was to create this particular universe, and the paradigm that he gave you for this was digital, electronic, but it's not electronic, it's something else. The way that you can understand it, however, is this idea of computational power and all this other stuff. What does this mean for you, though? What does it mean for you? He's giving you this explanation of the universe that you can put your mind around, and in some way giving you the explanation minimizes what you are, even though it doesn't in any way minimize what you are. You're sentient. You're aware. You can think, you can feel, you can touch, you can love, you can hate, you can be an asshole, you can be a dick to people, you can, be vulnerable, you can, all those things. You're a person. You're a person. Nothing has fundamentally changed from the standpoint of your capacity to experience and you being a person. What has changed is your knowledge of the entirety of the system and knowing that there's something else that's projecting this particular reality. What does that do to a person? Like, I personally, from an intellectual level, it shouldn't do anything. You're still you. Like you're still a consciousness. That consciousness still has the ability to perceive and do everything else. He's in a different perspective, a different reality frame. So what? It in no way minimizes who you are. It in no way minimizes or makes you lesser than. You still have the capacity to do all those things. Now, his reality may be different. In the same way that if you had the capacity to create a reality in your own reality, that reality would be different. If that thing has the ability to think, feel, speak, walk, degrees of freedom, and everything else, you can create that particular reality for that particular thing and have that particular thing have a life in the same way that you're experiencing a life. Your reality in this case is digital, meaning the reality that you're creating is digital. The reality that they created is something else. It's interacting with something else. You don't fully understand what it does any more than your computer could understand, or a software program running on your computer can understand what your reality is. But it's still life. That movie is fascinating, man. Black Mirror is fucking fascinating. Fucking fascinating. It's awesome. Bollocks, Kuda, Bernie is neither socialist or communist. Do you know what a tax rate under Eisenhower is? Fucking 90%. It's 90%. If a person's brain can be downloaded to a computer, then uploaded to a new clone bank, brain, and body, yourself, a new body, death will become a choice and not a fact of life. Well, it depends. How do you know that's you? How do you know that's you? How do you know that's you? That's not an easy question, by the way. How do you know that when the thing that's uploaded into that computer is you? How do you know that that contains all the things and aspects of you that make you who you are? And if something is missing from that, is that still you? How do you know that's you? I'm fucking fascinated about this. When they were uploading those images and brains, I kept thinking to myself, is that, like, let me say it this way: you have an out of body experience, and in having an OBE, some people postulate that your body is you're never really leaving your body, like a copy is created, meaning a copy of your consciousness is projected out. The thing that you're, or the vehicle that you're in, that you're moving around in, is a copy of who you are, of your copy of your body, of your. It's like a psychic imprint of your body of sorts, making a copy of itself, and that copy gets reintegrated when it reintegrates back into the body. Either way, you get freaked out and you just kind of crash back into your body, or you make a just exit, entrance. They also make this postulate that part of the reason that you can't remember your memories in this way, or not remember them well, it is not without a little bit of work, is because it's trying to integrate two streams of thought into a brain, and then trying to integrate those streams of thought into the brain in this way. Not necessarily a perfect process. That's similar. I say that because this idea of a copy is fascinating to me. If you're talking about projecting a copy, if human beings are malleable in this way, you can have one human being living multiple lives at the exact same time. You could have a situation where a human being is projected into this particular body, and then another body in Russia, then another body in China, another body somewhere else. Hell, you can have everybody to be the exact same human being. I mean, this gets fucking insane. Like it's like thinking of how do you integrate these multiple things into the individual of a person, and depending upon what's the actual nature of a human being, if a human being has actual nature at all. If you could download that, I think the question that people would ask is, how do we know it's the person? How do you know it's the person? Yeah. Yeah, I love season 4 too. The USS Callister, man, blew me the fuck away. Now, I'm a Trekkie, so fair enough. It's easy to blow me away in this way. But it was so fucking good. Like, it's the Callister thing was so good. And Black Museum was so amazing. So fucking amazing. Season 2 and 4 are best. So, season 2, White. Yeah, season 2 is best. Agreed. White Bear, one of my favorites. If probably, that was my favorite before USS Callister came in, and before Black Museum. But Black Museum, White Bear, and the USS Callister are amazing. Those things are amazing, like mind-blowing amazing. Jamal's cardigan looks like TV Snow. This is for my wife, by the way. She bought me this. Her and I, both of us are Venus and Leos. It's an astrology reference. I don't know who knows what that means. But our sense of taste is fucking similar, like amazingly similar. So usually if she's going out for Christmas or something like that, it's like, hey, have at it. If she can buy me clothes, I can buy her clothes, and shit works real well. I have not seen Lex. I haven't seen Lex at all. I know of it, but I haven't seen it. Mr. Rogers sweater. I like sweaters. I used to wear sweaters even when I was in elementary and middle school. I've always liked them. Yeah, Modi G, yeah, me too. This is going on too much. Alright, guys. I am going to call this quits. Seriously this time. It's a beautiful day for some tassels. A beautiful day for some tassels. Yeah, like... You guys missed the point. You don't want tassels. You need to free them. Tassels is a step back. Calling for tassels is like saying we're don't ask, don't tell. That's what tassels are. Like, instead of saying, yes, we want gays to be able to express themselves wherever they are, we want them to be people and integrated in our society, and just like in other cases, they're human fucking beings. To make that point of saying, well, you can ask but don't tell. I mean, don't ask but don't tell. That's what that's like, the tassel. Fuck the tassel. Fuck the tassel. Run to your mailboxes. Run to Washington, D.C. Millions of women bearing their breasts and their tits. Just shame the Congress into behaving like fucking adults. Politics needs to be a service, not a career. Chauncey Stewart, yes, agreed. Agreed. Thank your wife from us for giving her time so she's unconscious. She wasn't feeling well. Like I told her eyes swelling. She took Benadryl, Advil, and now she's in a coma. Bathing suits down to the knees. That's funny. I don't believe in tassels, man. I don't believe in tassels. Just let them free. Let them free. That being said, the penis should always be covered. Men are not built for utilitarian. Men are utilitarian. They're not built for They're not built for looking good in this case. Men should always have on swimming shorts. Speedos need to be outlawed. Outlawed. Only swimming trunks. Women, however, go bottomless if they want. Calling for tassels is forcing men to acknowledge the double standard. Oh, I see. I see, Bernie Bro. I see. I see. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Shawari K. Jamal talks forever. You guys keep me here. Rock out with your cock out. Right. Right, this is my point, man. But there's shrinkage, right? This is kind of my point. Men should, it should always be covered for men. It should always be covered. Free the penis. Oh God. Now I'm the conservative on this one. People rock out with your cock out, free the penis. Right, that's funny. All men have named their penis at some point. At some point, yeah, I agree. Space Cyber. I think so. I think so. I think all red-blooded American men have named their penis at some point. No Speedos. Right. Yeah. Stephanie, on this, I agree with you. We're of like mind. Speedo should be outlawed. Speedo should be outlawed. In Canada, you can have people sit in politics for a while. Shishwawi Kate, my husband wears Speedo. Yeah, Kate, that would be outlawed under my regime. I'm sorry, that would be outlawed. You can have your breast out, but the Speedo thing is frowned upon. It's frowned upon. Yeah, the penis is utilitarian. Yeah, that's right. It's not a sports car. It's a dump truck. It gets from point A to point B. It's not sexy. Canada has lost its free speech. Why do you think Canada has lost its free speech? And if you're saying Canada, it's not just Canada, man. France was trying to pass that law, allowing them to take control of the internet when something came out that they tried to say was not true, or they tried to say was fake news. Essentially, the government taking the power to say, this is fake news, so I'm taking this thing. I'm taking this down. Which is fucking amazing. It's like allowing the government to make the determination of what's truth. It's fucking dangerous. It's absolutely dangerous. France is just better at most things. France is also out there pulling burqas off of people. So let's put that shit in context. They got the police accosting Muslims on the beach, pulling Speedos off. Alright, so I am no male strippers. You can't say no male strippers. You cheating on their right hand with their left. Okay, my audience is devolving into a bunch of women who are a little raunchy. I'm joking, guys. I don't care if it's funny. Italy has a bikini police. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. I'm just saying, yes, I love France too. I think France is fucking awesome. But running on the beach and pulling off burqas is a little much. It's a little much. It's like they're out there, like a woman is out there on the beach and they're like, hey, no, bonjour, give me this, take this off. It's like, what? What? Should we change the subject to something less weird like cannibalism? No, I'm heading out. It's almost 2 hours. So, you guys, thank you for coming on. I enjoyed you guys for having this weird, off-the-wall conversation about women's rights and freedom. When you think of breasts, think freedom. And you think tits, think freedom. A big glass of freedom. Mercy. Alright, guys. You all have a good night. If you enjoy the content, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, as always, Patreon. So, thanks, guys. Have a good night.